All right. What if, when I think about it, what if you could only believe outcomes that you want to happen and had the ability to stop believing in outcomes that don't serve you? How different would that change your life? What would be the difference in your life you could do? I read of a story about a lady named Susie, and I'm looking at it now, Susie McKinnon, the first person diagnosed with the severely deficient autobiographical memory. And it said that she lacked the ability to mentally um, relive events from her past, essentially preventing her from holding beliefs rooted in personal memories. So we think about those memories that we have that shape who we are and shape our belief system. And today we're going to talk about beliefs, and we're going to talk about in you're going to school with Dr. B, and the goal of this lesson that I teach every week is to help you to become the person that you need to be in order to go do the thing that you really want to do. Go do the thing that God put you on this earth to do. Go out, I guess, and multiply. Go out and do things that God wants you to do and live in his purpose and be able to do stuff. But we are so limited by, in this case today, when we're talking about beliefs, we're so limited by the things that we believe that are going to happen and some things that we can do. I think about this. The unique condition has influenced how she lives in the present without the emotional weight of past experiences. What if you didn't have that emotional weight about past experiences that have now taught you that this is what's possible or this is not what's possible? And think about that. This last week, I was asked, when we think about it, I was asked a question about my book, and my book's called "There Is No Tiger," and about there not being a tiger in society that is trying to pounce on you and that has fear. Anxiety is a different thing. So we're controlling overthinking, and we're living in a world where we're trying to control some of the anxiety that we create for ourselves. And so I just asked about, the book, and before I could finish my explanation about the book, what the book was about, which I kind of just did with you, I was asked the question, why did you write the book? Why did you write the book? Why did you want to have other people read what you wrote? It makes me start thinking about my beliefs, and as a coach, and whether it's an athletic coach or a business coach or as an educator, as a professor, that I'm trying to impart knowledge, or I'm trying to impart education, or trying to help somebody, like I said, to become that person that they desire to be, but having to change the person that they are right now, because if they were the person now that they needed to be in order to get the result, they would already have the result, right? And so beyond my culture status, and I realized why I wrote the book is the subject of what I'm going to talk about today. It is beliefs. I wrote the book because I wanted to find a way that I could help people understand their belief system and why it's so important and why it isn't serving them, and why the things that they allow that into their mind to think about stops them from achieving the greatness which is in them. Because I believe greatness is within everyone. And I think these things in the past have kind of stopped us from being able to get those things. So that power of a belief, right? The power to change your system to get what you want. And I'm sure there's times in your life, if you were to look back and you can think of the different things and beliefs that you once had that you no longer have, that you've now changed, and is to change the way that you look at life. I think about, when I was growing up and going to college and thinking about life and what's important. And I said one of the stupidest things to my mom when I was wanting to be a stuntman, and I was wanting, that was my goal, right? I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to, move on to that next level, which was super important in our family that I do. All I wanted to do was to go be a stuntman, because I believe that's the trajectory. And there's nothing wrong with being a step man, and you kind of sometimes wish I still was, but that was the trajectory that my belief system thought I was capable of, as I was a special ed teacher and a person who, or not special ed teacher, a special ed student that was told that I wasn't going to be much. I wasn't going to amount to much. I wasn't going to be able to finish a college degree. Um, and so my belief is I had to go do something that would come from me and my body and what I could work. And then when I realized I was smarter than I thought I was, I realized that I could do stuff. That belief changed the trajectory of my life, right? And so how we believe shapes those outcomes. And so when we start thinking about real life application, I think of like I have a granddaughter who comes over, and at 2 years old, she'll believe anything that I say, right? She'll believe that whatever I'm trying to achieve or wherever I'm trying to go is something that she says that whatever I tell her, she just believes that. She believes she can do anything. She can stand on a countertop, right? And she can jump off without any fear, knowing that I'll catch her. The belief is that I will catch her. But what happens the first time I don't catch her? What happens the first time that I don't believe in her in the way? And we start eroding, the beliefs about what we believe about other people, and then what we believe about our own capabilities, because maybe it didn't work. Maybe we failed at something. And even though we've heard stories that, hey, this person failed, and now they're succeeding, we don't think that's for us. We think that we failed to the point that we're not able to continue to succeed. And so those desires start going away. And so when we start thinking about, okay, and now I need to become the person that I need to be in order to do the thing I want to do, we realize that, and I love this, we are so good at seeing outcomes that we don't desire, or we're so good at seeing outcomes that have never happened, or we're so good at seeing outcomes that are counterintuitive to what we believe that we can do, that we can just start doing it. We don't believe in the future, right? We don't see outcomes of the future that we desire. We see outcomes of the future that we believe we can't have. Just an example in business, and we start thinking about bankruptcy, and we start thinking about business, and we say, if we give ourselves a way out, if it doesn't work out, then we will do this. If we can't do it, then we will do this, right? We will go ahead and, if I can't make it work, I'll just file bankruptcy and start over. And that becomes the first thought in our mind before we're ever thinking about, well, what if I just go do it and I make money and we're off to the races, right? I start thinking of like that maybe there's 5 or 6 different plans when I'm talking to people of something that they desire to do, that they tell me why they can't do it in the beginning. They tell me that why, hey, I got plan A. So if plan A doesn't work, then I'll do plan B. And if plan B doesn't work, I'll do plan C. And then plan C doesn't work. And they've already mapped out 5 failures, and they've given me half of a reason why something will work. What I really want to hear, what I really want to desire is I wanted them to tell me all the reasons it's going to work, all the things that they're going to do, all the desires that they're going to have, and the places they're going to go, and the things they're going to do, and the beliefs. And we go to like seminars and we do stuff, and people try to give us vision boards, and they try to help us see that ahead of time, so that can be the directory or the direction or the flow or the way we want our life to go. The problem is that little voice that's on our shoulder that talks to us is telling us all the reasons it's not going to work. All these the less positive outcomes that are going to happen. And that's the reel that we play in the mind. That's part of what the book talks about, is that reel that we play in our mind that is all negative, that we now start dwelling on, that we now start getting anxiety about. As I go walking every morning, and sometimes I almost forget how to be an athlete, but I get so tired, I get sweaty, I start breathing. Can I do it? My knee hurts. I'm gonna run the last 100 meters anyways, and I'm gonna break through, and because I'm thinking about that desired outcome that I want, that my body needs to work the way that I want to work, and I'm doing it physically. But then I think of the people that I talk to who are telling me and the anxiety that they have of why something's not going to work and what's going to happen. And, nobody's going to like me and I'm going to eat some worms. And, if I start this relationship, and they go down this rabbit hole, right? Like I'm desiring to find, buddy who's desiring to find a wife, right? Desiring to find the person that he can spend the rest of his life with. But then he gives me those 5 different reasons why. Well, what if she doesn't love me the way that I am? What if she doesn't love me, the way that I look? What if I start getting old, and when I get old, I turn and I get wrinkles on my face, and then she doesn't like the way, then she gets, and then she's going to find somebody else, and then she's going to walk away from me. What if she doesn't like the way I cook? What if she doesn't like that I'm not making enough money? And then if I don't make enough money, is then, is she going to have to make the money? And then I'm going to have to, and they go down this rabbit hole. And then there's no way they're going to be able to find somebody, because when they look at somebody and they say they go out on a date and they're sitting across the table from a person who's telling them about their lives, they're not even listening. They're not even hearing what the person's saying, because they're thinking of reasons why that person isn't going to like them. And we all do that, right? We all speak into existence all the things that we don't want to happen as if they're going to happen. And we have anxiety, and we're breathing hard. And it's that same chemicals, that same physical manifestation, as if I was running down the street and breathing heavy. And some people get so blocked and so locked out and so, I guess, stop the momentum of them becoming what they want to be, because they're so worried about something that truly hasn't happened. That's kind of why I wrote the book, right? And when I'm thinking about those 5 things, have you ever, this is a really cool one, right? Have you ever made a declaration? And when I think about declaration, you think about, have you ever said this is something that is going to happen in the future, and then you made it happen? Have you ever had such belief in something that you said it was going to happen, and a half hour later it happened, and then you didn't think anything about it because you were so sure that it was going to happen? Has that ever happened to you? And I'll pause for a second while you can think of a few things. What's the last thing in the future? Because we don't know the future, right? All we can do is declare into the future that something's going to happen and we want it to happen. Here's what I'd submit to you. Of course you have. Of course you have said something like, how about I'm going to go to bed? Right? A declaration of something that's going to happen in the future. Do you believe you're going to go to bed? I am going to come home from work. And you get in the car. You may never make it home, but you made a declaration that I'm going home. And then you start doing all the things you need to do to go home, right? You get ready from wherever you're at, and you get in your car and you drive home. And there's all these things that could happen, but the destination is home. But the belief is there that you're going to make it home, and you go home. You make the declarations like that every single day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And it happens. I'm going to cook myself a meal. Right now, after this video, I am going to go eat a hot dog, or I'm going to go eat a hamburger, or those things don't matter, right? Because they're just part of what we do every single day. But yet we make those declarations of beliefs, and then we find ways to manifest them happening without even thinking about it. What if you were to take that same belief system that you have about things that don't matter, right? The things that don't matter that are going to happen anyways, and you boldly put those into declarations of things that you qualify. Because here's what happens now, right? We begin to start qualifying our beliefs to, instead of this is going to happen, to I'll try. We have the Yoda saying, do or do not, there is no try. But how many times do we say things like, I'm going to try this right now. I'm going to, see if it works out. I'm going to put some effort in, and we'll see what happens. That belief system tells me right there that you've already started playing that negative scenario into your mind, that negative scenario into what could happen. So you're giving yourself a way out. You're giving yourself a plan B. You're giving yourself a plan C, because it really doesn't matter if I don't make it. Where does that come from? That doesn't come from when you're a kid, right? That doesn't come from when you have this belief that nothing can go wrong. It comes from the failures that have happened, and then you believing more in the failures than you believe in the successes. Why? Is it because the successes come at a little bit more cost? Is it because the successes come at a little bit more work that has to go into it? And it's easier to just to say, I'll just go watch TV, right? That's in the future. You don't have to turn on the TV, but you can. I'll just go watch somebody else pretend like there's somebody else, and then I will live my life through them. Or there might be somebody actually doing it. You go to an event or an athletic event. I'm going to go watch somebody live out their dreams and live out their futures while I'm having trouble with my own. And sometimes we tend to do because those things that don't matter, we don't have to qualify. But when we start qualifying, we have to come up with those excuses. So, what if you were able to take that same belief you have on stuff that don't matter, that doesn't matter, and apply it to the stuff that you've been qualifying? That same belief system. How does that change your life? Well, that's what the book is about. That's what we're talking about when on steps on how to do that. I wrote this, so we can start to move from those negative thoughts that we play in our minds. When we talk about those negative thoughts that play in our minds, right? Do we ever think about the positive things that can happen? Do I ever think in that relationship scenario, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start believing that when I cook a meal, that it's going to be the best meal that somebody ever ate. They're going to enjoy it. I watched the TV. I watched how to build it. I'm going to put the right salt in. I'm going to put the right pepper in. I'm going to put all the right things in the quantities of the things that I want to do into the food that I make. And then I'm going to serve it. And they're going to go, oh, this is out of this world. Or do we start, or do we cook that meal and then we put it in a plate and we put it in front of them, and then we put it in front of them, we start asking, is it okay? Did I do okay? Is it all right? Does it taste the way that you want it to taste? Did I meet your expectation? you know and you start playing, you want to know the feedback, because you've already built in that it's the feedback's not going to be good, right? And so now we can flourish in that belief. Oh, they did say something good about it. All right, and this is how we start building these beliefs, right? Because now they said something good about it. I must be a good cook. Then we go cook another meal, right? Hmm, I must be a really good cook. Then somebody else says something good about it. Now I'm thinking about, I can start a business in a restaurant. I can become a chef. Then you go take some classes and you get even better at it. And now you start working on this belief system that creates this momentum that if you knew you could not fail, what action would you take? And now you're taking all the actions. And now if you look at people who are successful in the areas that they want to be, and they become the person that they need to be in order to do that thing, is because they started building these beliefs that now that they can do it. And so even though failures come, if you built enough and stacked up enough beliefs, and you've gone through these things, so not only are you avoiding the negative things that you don't want, but now you're starting to build those beliefs. So what do you have to do? What application do you have to take on a daily basis? What thing do you have to do today to start building those beliefs? Well, part of it is stop doing the things you've been doing that have not been serving you, that have helped you in these negative cycles and the negative beliefs, and put you in that place to do. Because once we had to start figuring out how to stop wasting energy. Let me say it again. I want you to start figuring out ways to stop wasting energy, because that energy expanding that makes you breathe hard, right? And controlling, energy, controlling future outcomes that we don't want to happen. Stop wasting your energy. And there's steps to be able to do that, right? But this is the steps that we're working on mentally, to start thinking, what do I need to do? Part of it is just knowing that you're doing it. Like when you start feeling that anxiety build up, and you start, I need to take some breaths. This is not going to work, because our anxiety is these negative futures, right? That's what anxiety is. It's controlling negative futures, and we don't even know what the future is, and we're trying to control it before. So when that starts building up, just the awareness of knowing that, hey, this is creating some anxiety. I don't know if it's going to happen. What are some techniques that I need to do in order to make it happen? And then that can change your belief system, right? Because that's just a belief. It's nothing that's happened already, right? Because you're controlling your future. So that belief system has told us that it's going to happen, and expecting it to go bad. So we want to stop spending our energy in a belief system where we're expecting things to be bad. Because even if they are bad, how bad are they really? Are they really, right? Is there a tiger going to pounce on you and eat you and kill you? Probably not. So we need to stop that and go, okay, what's there? Right. And so once we know it's not going bad, and we can stop worrying now about future outcomes that are causing anxiety, and realizing it's not fear, because sometimes fear is what false evidence appearing real. Right. So now we've gotten ourselves into this fear factor. Fear is the tiger that's going to eat you, because your body turns its adrenaline on. Anxiety is controlling something that hasn't happened yet, and then we try to start turning that into fear. So we need to start doing some examples, and there's tons in the book that we'll give you, and we will talk about these in future lessons and just kind of go through some of the things that you can do. Today is about just the awareness that you have belief systems that are not serving you. That's the kind of the gift that I talked about at the beginning, is that what if you could believe that there's anything that you could do? And if there's any gift that I could possibly give you, it would be that that the only beliefs and the outcomes you desire help you to, just like the lady I was talking about at the beginning, who can't go by her own experiences that were behind the McKinnon lady, because those experiences, that if she can't remember those experiences, then she can't have negative thoughts about them. And because she can't have negative thoughts about them, they can't affect her future outcomes. Right. And so one of the things that the gift I would love to give you, and the gift that I want to work on with you, and the gift that we want to do through these classes and through this time that we spend together, is that gift of expecting it not to be bad and worrying about the future, the outcome. And that's what's causing anxiety. We don't want it to be that. The gift is what we want to be, is you desire instead of the outcome that you would like. And that's what you need to work on. Right? If I could give you the ability to think only in the future of the things that are going good, then it circulates, and that affects the actions that you take today, which then affects what you get to do in the future. Right. So if we can begin that thought process of, okay, I know that I desire, and you get to declare, right? We're going to declare something good. So I'm going to declare that next month I am going to meet the person of my life, the person I want to spend the next year. I'm putting it out there, right? I'm not going to say, well, I have to be out to, and start making all the reasons why it's not going to work. I'm going to meet that person. Then we have that thing in our body called the reticular activating system that starts putting together that this is a belief, that this is going to happen no matter what. Then we start desiring it. Now, our actions that we take, right? The action isn't, well, I'm not at places I'm going to be. No, you put yourself in positions that you want to be, that you might be able to meet that person. Then we start moving forward. Now, that's a big example. Let's do something just little. I want to make an extra $100 next month. I'm going to make an extra $100 next month. What are you going to do? If that's a desire, that is not a negotiable. That is not something that's going to, it's that bold declaration if it's going to happen, right? Our belief is, there's no way I'm not going to have an extra $100 next month. It's absolutely the belief that I'm going to have. Now, the actions that I take, I put myself in positions now that will allow that $100 to come into my life. And then all of a sudden it comes to my life. And then that puts a brick on my building of becoming the person I need to be in order to do the things that I really want to do. And my friend, that is probably why you haven't been achieving a lot of the things that you want, is because our belief systems are all jacked up and we're spending the time. And so I hope that helps today. I hope that's been something that has allowed you to at least start thinking about the process. As homework today and this week, I would love you to start thinking of the times when that negative pops into your mind, when that plan B pops into your mind, and you start thinking of all the possible things that could happen. What are you going to do to get those out of your mind? What are you going to do to say, wait, stop? That's a negative thought. I'm going to declare. And then if you want, I'll put a link in here for 500 affirmations that I put together that you can use. And if you get into the, my daily success journey, where we do affirmations and we do Thanksgiving and we do words. There's so many things that you can do to begin this process, that you can change the person you are, right? To become the person you want to be able to do the things that you want to do. All right, you guys have a wonderful, awesome day. Don't forget you are God's greatest gift, and He loves you. We'll talk to you on the next one.